Am I the AH for not going to my parents' wedding before they get divorced again? My friends told me to make a Reddit account just for this because this is so weird and no one knows if I'm in the right. So, I'm 26F, parents, B50, got married when I was 5 and I was the flower girl. Around when I was 10, they got divorced, which no one saw coming because they never fought. I feel like I have to mention my parents are both very wealthy and kept finances separate, and so it was an easy divorce and obviously they could pay for it. When I was about 17ish, they decided to get back together. Me, being 17, was overjoyed and was a bridesmaid at their second wedding. I really hope you see where this is going, but they ended up separating again. They didn't tell anyone and didn't get a divorce, but we all knew they were separated, and 3 years later they wanted to renew their vows, in which I was asked to buy a nice dress for the occasion. Surprise! They got divorced. Again. And only after 3 months after their renewal. After that I sort of just lived my own life because I wasn't exactly thrilled at whatever they were doing and honestly really over it. So, a few days ago I got an invite in the mail to my parents' 3/4 wedding after 6 years, and so I called my mom about it. She was super excited and told me I was old enough to be her mo and that she wants me to buy a $1,500 dress. That's a solid no from me. I told her I'd be her mo, but I'm either going to wear the original bridesmaid dress, which is a cream color, or the other nice one I got, which is brown, because I'm not buying a $1,500 dress. She freaked out and told me that those don't match the color scheme, pink and green, and that she knows I can afford it. Which is true. I got an inheritance from my grandfather's passing. However, when my fiancé and I moved in together, he made clear he didn't want me to be paying for most things and he wants to do it 50-50. So, we got a small apartment that he could afford to pay his share of, and all of my extra money is in savings/college fund because we want a large family of 5 to 7 kids, and they are well, expensive. So, I reminded my mom of that and told her that I also would like to use my money on other things that won't be worn once, and I'll have to buy a new one every 3 to 6 years. My mom called me a spoiled brat and that I'm wasting my privilege, I have no words, and that I'm telling her I won't be a part of my own parents' wedding. I told her that I was going to be willing to show up to the wedding and not be the mo, but at this point I'm not showing up at all, and told her to call me when they get their next divorce. I hung up and got a slew of nasty emails from my family throughout the day, and my friends are divided on if I made the right call with the premise that they are my parents. Aita? Update: Aita for not going to my parents' wedding before they get divorced again? Hi guys. First of all, thank you for all the attention, and some of your comments were absolutely hilarious. My fiancé and I had a field day going through all of them. A lot of people suggested just making my mom pay for the dress, but I was debating the suggestion of just being a guest, though a lot of you agreed with me to just not show up. I ended up calling my mom and was going to make a decision with however it went. She started off the conversation that she didn't need me to be a part of the wedding party because her and my dad were having trouble having the best people, aka no one will do it again lol, so they were going to scratch that part of the wedding and it was all about them anyway. So, I told them I was coming as a guest, and after I made plans with my cousin to give me a lift so I wasn't spending a single cent on going to their wedding. Now my fiancé and I go over to their house for dinner once a month, so we went over there Saturday. As I mentioned before in a comment or two, my fiancé grew up financially insecure, and so I struggle with convincing him to do something nice for himself once in a while. I did, however, just convince him to spend part of our savings to do a really nice honeymoon in Greece since we are doing a small wedding. It took some pulling of teeth, but he now won't stop getting travel books and researching, and it makes me so happy to see him excited about this. It was a fairly pleasant dinner until my own wedding planning came up. I told them that we were pretty much set with the wedding, but we were having out details on Greece. My mom got visibly upset and excused herself, and my dad followed. I was pretty confused, but they came back and my dad calmly explained that my mom feels very hurt that I'd be willing to spend thousands of dollars on my honeymoon but wouldn't shell out money for their wedding. I was pretty dumbfounded and said, well, we are willing to have an expense on the honeymoon because we are only getting married once. So yeah, I got kicked out of the house and uninvited from the wedding, person shrugging, female sign, not super torn up about it, and this is now my fiancé's favorite story to tell, smiley face, happy holidays y'all. Best comments from the user: lol, my dad's brother was married 5x by the time I was 9. My dad was the best man at the first 4 weddings, different women each time. I still remember my dad being on the phone with his brother when his brother asked him to be the best man again. My dad said no. Told him he had to do something different this time. Well, it worked. He's been married to his 5th wife for the past 40 years or so. His wife is awesome. They get along great. In fact, my dad's brother still has a tattoo of either his first or second wife's name on his arm to this day. Someone asked his current wife a few years ago why she didn't make him get it removed. Her answer is PFFT. Honey, I am his 5th wife. If I was going to be insecure about a damn tattoo, I have no business marrying him. I guess there is something to be said for his persistence in trying to find the one. Unlike us, parents who keep doing the same thing over and over again. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching.